Today I'm taking a look at Acdsee Photo Studio Ultimate 2021. They did send me this version, so keep that in mind. I have bought previous versions, but I do like their software. I'm going to go into stuff that I use for my photo and video work and also some of the new features that I see with this new version. Let's get started. Here on their website they list improvements and changes to the new version. Let's go into improved performance, which I think is one of the most important aspects of a piece of software, is if it works quickly and well. Probably the biggest one for me is the 20% improvement in raw decoding performance. I do have both versions up at the moment. We can check it out real quick. With 2020 and 2021 here, I have a few things disabled just to improve performance even more so. I took off the face detect, which is a feature that can be very useful, but I haven't gotten into it yet. A few other things like the animations, I disabled those. Let's pick one of these images, double click on it, it'll bring it up into view, see how quickly it takes for that. Any slight improvement in performance, in my opinion, is very good. From view to develop, let's see how quick that goes. So again, maybe slightly faster. So you should be able to get around the program a little quicker here and there with these speed improvements. Hopefully they keep doing that for each new version. Let's take a look at what is new with Acdsee 2021. Text and path improvements. Tone wheels, which is something I'll really get into. That's a unique and interesting feature. Develop tab is improved, which is great because I use that a lot. Quick search, improved watermark feature, which I tried out and it does work nicely. Refined selections, improved renaming, which is another one I use quite a bit. Improved batch resize, GoPro support with their RAW format. It doesn't currently work on the GoPro Hero 9, which I did try out, but the previous versions should work. And improved crop tool. Here's a quick side-by-side of the Develop tab. This is the one that I use a lot, and they did drastically change the features and functionality of this. On the left we have 2020, on the right we have 2021. Changes in this right panel, so you've got this preset feature now, which is not in the previous version. You can save snapshots, you can go through your history, jump back and forth, but with the presets you change settings on the picture you're editing, and then you can make a preset from that, or you can select from one of their built-in presets. These are not raster based, these are adjustments that you can change and remove as you like. So Develop tab is great for editing your photos without baking that into the photo itself. You can see quite a few things changed through this left panel. So we've got these color wheels now, which are not in the previous version. And start with these color wheels. They're very interesting. You put your mouse over there, you can adjust the size of your selection here for this specific color wheel, and then you adjust the positioning of it so it selects that group of colors out of the image. See that it's highlighting the greens at the moment, so I can refine that with this side hinge or whatever you want to call it. You can apply these changes to that color itself without adjusting anything else. So if I want super saturated greens, I could do that, or make them totally unsaturated, change the hue on it, which is a big one. So if you want to change sky colors, which we'll get to, I can do that. It's really nice to target specific colors, adjust them slightly. So if you don't want yellow greens, you want blue greens, you can change it with that tool. We've got a sky that we can adjust. First, let's pull that down so we get more color in there. So the dehaze tool that I use quite a bit, see it really pulled in the sky so it's got more detail and color to it with one slider. We go back to this color wheel. We want to change the blues. You can see that it is targeting those blues. So you could go for the entire area if you want. And then we want to shift the colors maybe to something else, which I don't know if you want a green sky, but maybe we're going post-apocalyptic. We can go for that weird green sky to it. Make it super moody looking. And another set of tone wheels. These ones will actually make the adjustments as you go into it. So you could do a similar thing with this as you want, but it's more of a refinement. So with the highlights, midtones, shadows, that allows you to really refine specific colors. So I could see this helping anyone that really wants to adjust colors, adjust how they look, how sharp they are, specific ones. That nice, very detailed refinement can be helpful. And if you want to go into these develop presets, say you wanted to do black and white, one click with that preset, Control Z to undo, or use this history area to undo all these things as you want. So I want to go back to the original. You can double click on that, jumps back to the original. There's a lot of stuff in here to really refine your images. There's color LUTs now, which I haven't gotten into, but when I'm editing a bunch of photos in the develop tab, a lot of the time I would change some of these sliders to be very similar for each photo. So you can use that preset feature to basically save those settings as a group and apply them to different photos from different folders, all of that. Quickly make a preset here. So usually I'd have something very basic, but types of adjustments that fit my style. Then you can go into here, there's a little plus icon, it says create new preset, and you could select which settings you wanted to apply based on how you changed that picture. So I might unselect and then just pick the ones that I changed, and then you can give it a name. So I made that preset in here. Let's see if it's, here's SW1. Let's click a new photo and we'll try it out. So to apply these changes, this is the area that I spend most of my time, and it's great to see that they improved on it. One of the main features of Acdsee Photo Studio, and not just the ultimate version, is being able to manage your photos. So here's the main manage view. There's a lot to it. I'm just going to scratch the surface here, but you can of course adjust how you want it to look. You've got thumbnails and information, film strip. I usually use just the thumbnail view, but there is a lot of ways to look at your photos, details, lists, and you get EXIF information on the side. You get histograms, more information. There's a lot to it. There's ratings, which you can use these on the top right, or you can use them from these drop-down menus. So you can filter by ratings, filter by color. You can group them by different information. You can sort different information, like image properties. A nice one, if you have multiple cameras, you go out on a shoot and you have like a M50, M5, you can sort by the camera used. You post the EXIF information and basically blocks them up by the camera. We're going to quickly check out the duplicate finder feature. I copied 3 images into the same directory, so now we have 3 duplicates. Let's do a quick check. So in tools, find duplicates, and then we add the folder that we're in. So we add the folder we're in, we'll have it search on there, and it found the 3 copies very quickly. You can do this on large groups of files, and then you would just pick which ones you don't want. So it says select the checkbox items you wish to delete. So in this case, we're going to delete these 3 copies that we don't want. So that's a nice way to quickly trim your photos if you do accidentally make copies. Another feature I use is renaming files. You can hit F2 on the keyboard, or you can go into the tools menu and then go into batch, rename, and then rename. So you'd select some files here. I'm going to rename these. I'm just going to hit F2 on the keyboard, pop up the new renaming tool. So you can see what it looks like in 2021. Just pop up version 2020 to get an idea of what that looks like. This is definitely different between 2021 and 2020. With 2020, you can see that it has fewer ways to change those file names. So now we have search and replace, we have case change, insert text, remove text, strip spaces. There's a lot to it. I'm just going to use the template feature here. You can insert the metadata that you want. So in this case, we're going to go into here and add information. What I do with my videos is that often I have sample photos and I want to apply or quickly take that information like shutter speed, ISO, aperture, and apply it to my video files. What I do is rename the actual images to the EXIF information, and it's easy for me to copy and paste when I'm in the video editor. So in this case, Let's go f number, focal length, ISO, and let's see, shutter speed. So it takes those, it adds them to here. You can space them out. You can put anything that you can normally put inside file names. So I might put a comma between these. And you can also use the hash symbol to add some type of identifying number in case you have photos with the same information. So you can see what the pictures will turn into on this side panel. f2, 32mm, ISO 400. So it's really nice to quickly adjust settings. That was quick on these few photos. Now what I would do is use that information in my video editor. Another thing that I do a lot with ACDC is compare images from the manage area. So you select however many files you want. You can do more than 2, but usually I just do 2 images. So in this case, 23mm lens, I took f1.4 and f2 image. And then from the tools menu, I'm going to go into compare, or you can do Control-Alt-R. So from here we can zoom in and scroll around. You can unlock and lock the images if you want to move them around to make sure they're fully perfectly aligned. Get a histogram, properties. So we've got the f1.4 on this side, f2 on that side. Can minimize this thing here. So it's a really nice way to look at images side by side. Another thing that I use a lot with ACDC is something built into Explorer and Windows. You can right click on images and it'll give you a preview with ACDC's piece of information there. So pick a view, sees the preview, it gives you some EXIF information. You can click on that and it'll pull up an actual viewer. So if I wanted to quickly look through photos, I use that most of the time. In the View tab, it jumps right to there. The View tab is a quick way to look at photos. You can zoom in, scroll around. There's a lot to this one as well. You can also go into second monitor mode to preview your images on a second screen if you want. But really nice way to quickly look at photos and go through a big group. You can apply your ratings to here if you want. So down here at the bottom, you can apply the colors and apply actual rating. So if I want that to be a 4, it puts that on there. From the Manage tab, you can access image stacking. What that means is that if you take a picture of something close up, for example, and you adjust your focus, you take a bunch of photos, and then ACDC will take all those pictures, group them together, and pull out the sharpest parts of each picture. So you get a image where the object is fully in focus. So in this case, I did some tests. It worked out okay. Like I said, it's a one-click operation, and basically there are some quirks, but I think you can use it effectively with enough effort. In this case, I have 3 images for this PS4 controller. I select those, and I go into Process, Focus Stack. And it says make sure that they are from the closest to the furthest in order. And we'll go through the process of taking those images, grouping them together, and then picking out the areas that it wants to or should be in focus. And then you can pick what type of image format you want to use. In this case, I'm going to do a PNG. So you can see there are some quirks with this feature, but it does work for the most part. From this point to the back of the image, there is some focus, which would not be the case with a singular image. Let's go to one of the single photos. So you can see in this specific photo, that's just one of them, you've got focus in the middle, but you don't have focus on this X button. You don't have focus on this front area. So we go back to the stack. You can see there is some sharpness down here, but it's not perfect. And there is definitely focus on this X button. So it's a nice feature. I think it needs some work. Another easy 1-click or 2-click operation feature is their HDR mode, basically bracketing images together. Tried this out and I do like how this one works. Again, it's very simple, but it has a lot of functionality to it. So you take your images in a bracket. In this case, I'm going to use these 3 here. And you just go into Process, HDR. Then it takes those 3 images, puts them together, and pulls out the good information from each one. And then from here, you have different options. I usually do natural. You have black and white or detailed, dramatic, and then natural. Click OK. It'll make that one grouped up image. So you can pick whatever format you want, and then it'll make that final image. In this case, I picked a PNG image, which we can actually bring into the Develop tab and do some more adjustments to it. Let's go into Develop with that HDR photo. So you have a lot of information in these pictures with HDR mode. It's simple and very quick to make those bracketed images together. Again, there's not a lot of options to adjust it, but it's in there. It's something to check out. AC/DC has a lot of ways to adjust people photos, some easy stuff and more detailed ways to fix up skin, things like that. I have a few self-portraits here. Go into Develop. So from here, there is in the Detail tab, go down to Skin Tune. So if we click an area of a skin here, you can see some information or closer up details. So with smoothing, quickly apply with one slider some improvements to the features of the skin, add some glow to it if you want, and then you've got this radius feature to adjust specifically what you want to change. That's one quick way to do it. That's usually what I use, but there is another option. Go into the Edit tab. This is just Photo Studio Ultimate as far as I know. From there, there's a feature called Frequency Separation. So go into the Layer menu and then Frequency Separation. This is another way to adjust the fine details of the skin. You have to first set up your separation with these different sliders. This is not a feature that I've used much, so I don't know a lot of information about it, but it's great to see that it is in here. So just a few adjustments, a click, and then I can go into here, and then we've got our blurred layer and the detail layer. So from there, if you wanted to adjust specific features of the skin, you can use the tools on the side here to basically improve on things. So let's say I wanted to remove some of the blemishes in more detail, so we can more specifically target different types of textures. Or if you wanted to remove some hairs or do anything that you want, this is a nice way to do it without drastically affecting the image. So if I wanted to improve on this bright area of my nose, zoom in here, and then I can use one of these tools to try to improve on that. Let's try this one here. So that definitely helps it out, but there's still texture to it. So if we zoom in on the group, see that that bright area of my nose is improved on, but there's still texture information. If I wanted to adjust the smoothness of the skin, I can go into this other layer and improve on that with different tools. It's nice to have frequency separation built into the program. All this stuff is raster based in the Edit tab. You have a lot of options here. So new for 2021 is the improvement of the watermark tool. See, I have a image already set up with my information. You can adjust the size of it. You can adjust the position of it. In this case, let's say I went in the bottom center or the middle. So it's a nice quick way to have your watermark ready to go. You can use batch processes on it. I use a standard PNG. They have a built-in AC/DC one as an example, but got mine on here and it's ready to go. You can make a PNG in AC/DC itself. You want that transparent thing to it. And we go into export with file export. You can make different profiles, but I did change version recently, so I've only got a few of them. You can easily select your folder you want, take your format. I usually do PNGs or JPEGs in this case. Pixel format, color space. You can resize in your export, so if you don't want a big gigantic image, you can change like the long edge of a photo. So if you only want it to be 1000 pixels on one side, the longest side, you can do that. And either put metadata in there or exclude it. So I can easily press the plus button and then make a new profile. And it's in there ready to go when I need to export more photos. There is a lot to Acdsee Photo Studio, and this specifically the ultimate version. And with 2021, we see improvements in performance. We see those color wheels, which are really nice. I'm going to look forward to using that a lot more. And just in general, the develop tab, seeing improvements there are great. Adding all the other features like stacking, HDR, more formats supported, just really nice to see. Generally, I like this piece of software because it has a lot to it, but still the being able to rate your photos, sort them. You've got the database features, which I haven't even looked at, where you can go into here and it'll give you information on all of your files. Of course, I've just barely looked at a few images with this new version. You can have a lot of information about what cameras you used, what types of pictures you've taken. There's a lot to this software. I do think it is a good alternative to software as a service options like the Adobe stuff or whatever else is out there. After using Photoshop version CS5.1, something like that, for many years, I still use it, but I've shifted a lot of my photo work to Acdsee from there. So I've been using this Acdsee Photo Studio Ultimate since the versions before they started using the numbers for year. So I think it was version 17 or something like that. Anyways, there is a lot to it. Check it out if you're interested. Links in the description, all that. Scott Photography Bonsai. If you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing. That helps me out a lot. Like, shares, and the applause feature helps out a lot as well. Thanks again.